Woo-hoo. These are my parents who created me with joy, I'm sure. They loved each other, and I loved them. Mwah. I was born in 1934, Depression baby. My dad worked construction, and my mom was a typical housewife. She had many friends, though, and they used to play hockey together before she was married. She played hockey on women's teams. She showed me that if you want to do men's kind of things, you can do them. Don't worry about it. And so I've never been intimidated by any man, because if I don't like him, I'll just say, screw you. I won't. Oops. That's the bad side of me. I'm a person who loves her nest. And any place that we've traveled, and we've traveled a lot in our days, I've been able to nest. And my children have been around me, and they've suffered moves and losing friends and making friends, and it was hard on them. And my mom and dad did the same thing, but I always loved it because I could have some friends in one place, and then I go out and there goes other people that are just as good or maybe even better than the last ones. So I have gypsy blood. I admit that. When Gary and I married in '55, we wanted to travel, and we have managed to travel. And my goal was to put my feet on all 7 continents, and I've done it. And so has Gary. Being born in the Depression were hard times for my parents. I think money was scant, and prices were high. I think that caused Gary and me to be moderate in our financial dealings throughout our career together. We've never had arguments about money. We've never criticized one another for spending money for something we thought was foolish. It wasn't foolish, it was what they wanted, or what I wanted. I think the gift I was given was to have my dad, when I was 12 years old, sit by me on the bed as I was going to sleep. And he said, Johnny, I'm gonna tell you something. Mama tells me that little boys are coming around the house to play, and that's good. I think you should have girlfriends and you should have boyfriends, but I think what you should do is every friend you like, especially in the boys, choose one thing that you really think that is really good about that person. And I did it. I said, I'll do that, Dad. So every boy I knew, if he wrestled really good, I liked him, and I wanted to be a wrestler. And then another one would bring me a flower, and I'd say, oh, he's so gentle, that's so sweet, I love that. And even my brother's little friends, who were 4 years younger, would bring me flowers. And I never laughed in their face. I'd press them close to my heart. And it's a memory I have, and I'll die with it. That my brother's little friends had a crush on an old 4 years older than they were. Oh, I was honored. We grew up in many homes, and as I sit here at 2203 McKinley, I look that way. That's west, northwest, 1 block. We lived there, my mother, father, and I, brother, for my 4th, 5th, and 6th grades. Then we moved. We went back to Minnesota. Minnesota was good. Minnesota was good for me because it was totally different from California or any other place we'd lived. It had snow in the winter. It was fun. We liked it. We'd always try to see, how cold is it this morning? Oh, 45 below. Oh, I'm going to wear my saddle shoes. They have good traction. So that was fun for me to leave California and go back to Minnesota and see 2 different styles of life, and probably a more gentle place. A lot of traffic here. There was the Key System train track which ran on the next block up, all over the city. Key System Transit, and schooling was good, but I think Minnesota had better schooling than California did. They made it harder for me than California was. My little brother and he was a typical little brother, and I was always irritated with him. It was never a time when I wasn't irritated with that little guy who was 4 years younger than me. He wanted to do everything I wanted to do, and he wanted to be by my side, and I didn't have an arm strong enough to carry him all the time. So he became a problem for me. I just didn't even like him for a period of time. But we grew up to be good friends, and we talked about our childhood, and we talked about our marriages, and we bonded, and he died very young in 2000. And I still miss him, but his wife is still here, and she still calls, and she talks. And she talks, and she talks, and she talks. But my brother was a sweet kid, didn't graduate from high school. He went through the 8th grade or 9th grade, and then he just quit school and went to work. I decided there was more to life than just going to work, so I was going to get an education. I loved taking care of things. I had a feral cat that we recently lost, and I miss her every day. I go to the window and she's not there. I don't have any aspirations for the rest of my life except to not be a burden to my kids. And with cancer, it's pretty hard not to be a burden with your kids. When people ask me how I am, I say, I have cancer, you know. But I'm fine, and I am. I can walk to the store and back all by myself, and I'm deliberately walking my daughter's, Janine's, dog twice a day, once or twice a day, and I will continue until I can't walk. I'm going to keep fighting. And the fighting is going to be gentle. It's going to be a gentle path, but I'm not going to give in until God says, okay, Joni, it's your turn. And hopefully it'll be there and not there. Not there. I'm very spiritual. I really, truly believe that I've got some kind of a power over me, and I think it's my guardian angel. I think, but maybe it's God, or maybe it's my just fantasy. But whatever it is, I feel taken care of, and my kids have been angels walking the face of the earth. Gary and I met through a mutual friend named Dick Bear. Dick brought Gary to the house, and I thought he was interesting. He was tall, and he had nice, dark, almost black, curly hair. And he seemed quiet and composed, and he seemed to know how to talk to people. And gradually, I was picking little things out of him that my daddy told me to do. And I said, oh, I like that in him. But I grew to love Gary because he's a gentle heart. He's a willing partner. He's a wonderful father. He's what my father would have wanted me to do. My daddy would love my husband. My mama never gardened until she moved back to Minnesota in 1949. And then she could garden in her front yard, and she was the only one on the block who had beautiful flowers in her yard. So when we got here, and I never gardened until we got to this house, and it was stark. There were no trees. There were no shrubs. There was nothing pretty. And we put in that tree and that tree and that tree and that tree. We put in many trees. And then I thought, well, I don't know much about gardening, so I took a course in master gardening. And that gave me a title, and I had to serve a duty for that title and work. I worked at the Saturday farmers market, helping people discover what their relief was. Or what was this mildew, what about? But my yard became the focus of my hobby, and that's what I've done. I've hobbied up this house here and here and here and here and there and there. This is my hobby. This is my love. I love growing green. I still can get down on my knees. I can still squat, but I have to do the 4-point when I get up. Voila. So I married a good man. I carried 4 beautiful babies, even though Daddy told his mother, she said, what does that little boy look like? When you, Basin, were born, and Gary said, he's bald, and he's fat, and he's ugly, and he's red. He was a hard delivery, but he made it through. We both made it through. And all the others popped. They just popped like little jumping beans. Came into our lives with joy. 3 girls. We lost our Terry, but she's not gone. She's in our hearts. And Janine and Judy are well-functioning ladies, and my Basin's my big hunk of love. Just a wonderful human being. I'll just say, love wins. That's my motto. Love wins.